Story 1. Finally meeting my 29M online girlfriend 29F. After years of talking, it's not going well. About 2 years ago, I 29M connected with a girl 29F through an online community. We clicked instantly with similar passions and career ambitions. Early last year, she confessed she had feelings for me, which I reciprocated. We spent more and more time online, and eventually, she started referring to me as her boyfriend to her friends and family. While I was very interested, I felt I needed to meet her in person to solidify that label for myself. So, for Christmas, I planned a trip to visit her in Canada from the USA. It was a significant expense, but I believed it would be worth it. We had discussed me traveling to her several times, and it seemed like the best option given her anxiety, which is crucial to this story, and some health issues that would make international travel more difficult for her, especially with the current political climate. That trip finally happened this past weekend, and I'm currently writing this from my hotel room, where I've spent the vast majority of my time alone. Here's the crux of the issue. The trip started as expected. I was in a new city, a country I'd only visited a few times, and naturally felt a bit nervous myself. I took a 40-minute Uber to my hotel, expecting that by the time I arrived, she would have calmed her nerves and be ready to meet me. Unfortunately, her anxiety was particularly intense, and it took her another 2 hours to muster the courage to drive the mere 5 minutes to come see me. While this wasn't ideal, I tried to be understanding, knowing her anxiety was a significant factor, and I consider myself a patient person. We finally met, and she was visibly shaking and crying, but overall, it was a good moment. We hugged and then drove to her place, where I met her brother and we hung out for a short while. However, her anxiety was still very high, so we didn't do much for the next couple of hours. She had wanted to drive me around and show me the city, but she couldn't bring herself to do it. Eventually, she suggested I should probably just Uber back to my hotel instead of her driving me. The next morning, I woke up early, knowing she usually works nights and wouldn't be up for a while. Being unfamiliar with the city, I decided to stay at the hotel and wait for her to wake up. 4 hours later, she messaged me. We chatted briefly, and she told me she wasn't quite ready to see me yet as her nerves were still overwhelming. I tried to be understanding again. I found a drugstore within walking distance to pick up some things and grabbed us some food from a local spot before finally heading back to her place about 2 hours later. She didn't eat anything and then told me that her brother, herself, and I were going to a get-together with a bunch of their friends. That sounded fun, so I asked how long we'd be there, and she said a few hours. We left, which involved about an hour's drive. Her friends were all fantastic and very welcoming, and she seemed genuinely happy to introduce me as her boyfriend. The party lasted a good portion of the night, but we didn't get to talk much as I was often engaged in conversation with her friends, or she was playing a game or something. Around 10 p.m., we left, and I figured there was still plenty of night left, as she's usually up until 3 or 4 in the morning, so I was really looking forward to spending some quality time together. However, as we got in the car, she asked her brother if it was okay if she took me back to the hotel before they went home. He agreed, and I was just left in shock during the entire drive back, realizing she was too drained to spend even a couple of hours of quality time with the boyfriend she had just met in person. At this point, the disappointment was really setting in, and I was feeling pretty down. Back in my hotel room, I was just completely confused by the whole trip. Here I was, alone in a hotel room in a country I barely knew, with my girlfriend, just a few minutes away, and I had no idea what to do. I was hesitant to message her about it, fearing it would worsen her anxiety, but I was at a loss. I was scheduled to meet her mom for dinner that evening, and at this point, it felt like I had met everyone except my girlfriend. So, I messaged her that. She was very apologetic, reiterating that her anxiety was still incredibly high and that she had wanted this trip to be amazing for me, but she just felt completely drained. She made an effort to assure me that she was still very interested and that her feelings hadn't changed, but she admitted that if we were alone together, nothing intimate would happen because she was just too nervous, having been out of a relationship for a couple of years. I told her that intimacy wasn't even on my mind. We had barely hugged during the trip, and there were many steps before anything like that could even be a possibility. I just wanted to spend some quality time connecting with her. She said that tomorrow, after I met her mom, there would probably be time. Well, today is my last day here. I have an early flight tomorrow morning. I feel like this entire trip has been a waste of time and money, and I'm still just incredibly confused. I came here hoping to spend meaningful time with her, not sit alone in a hotel room for the majority of my visit. In my mind, she would have wanted to be with me every waking moment, especially since our time together was so limited, and we had talked about it for ages as if that was going to be the case. Now, I'm seriously questioning if this relationship has a future after this experience. Comment 1. You had to give it a shot. But it sounds like it didn't work out. You need to be honest and tell her how this made you feel. If she wants to keep seeing you, she's got to travel to you next time. If she's too anxious for that, then you're not compatible and wasting your time. Comment 2. Dude, you have one more night in this city you will probably not visit again. I say go out, explore the city with whatever time you have left. Find some cool local food stuff and go to a bar or two. Sorry your trip has not worked out like you would have liked it to. But might as well make the most of what little time you have left. Comment 3. As someone with anxiety myself, I have to wonder what exactly is she doing to treat herself? She's expecting people to accommodate her 100% and doing nothing to work through it. Or she is using it as an excuse because she isn't into it. Either way, I don't think this relationship is fair for you. I would let her down gently and go home single. Comment 4. She needs professional help. I would kindly cancel meeting mother. Tell her it doesn't make sense to meet her mother because you don't know her. Let her know outright that you feel this trip signals the end of any ideas of a romantic relationship because she is clearly not well enough. Tell her you would love to remain friends, but you are not putting your life on hold for someone who needs to deal with her mental health issues. Honesty is the kindest thing you can do for her. Hopefully, it will put a mirror up for her to make efforts to get the help she needs. Lying or playing along is crueler than being honest in a kind way. Good luck. Story 2. Update. Finally meeting my 29M online girlfriend 29F. After years of talking, it's not going well. Just wanted to share how the last day of my trip went. Yesterday morning, after posting my initial concerns, I woke up and waited somewhat anxiously for her to message me. It took a couple of hours again, but around noon, I finally heard from her. She told me we had dinner planned with her mother for the late afternoon, and I could Uber over to her place whenever I was ready. Despite some suggestions to call off dinner, I decided to go through with it. I headed over to her place shortly after that, and we spent some time just relaxing and watching things together. She seemed to be having a better day, so we sat close, and while her brother was still in the house, it felt more like quality one-on-one time, which was what I had been hoping for. Dinner with her mother was fantastic. We connected really well, and she seemed genuinely happy for both her daughter and me. After a hug from her mom, we went back to her place. The evening continued in a similar vein to the afternoon, not complete alone time, but definitely more focused on us, and we had a good time. Was it exactly what I had envisioned for my last day? Not entirely, but it was definitely nice. As it got late, I was half expecting her to want me to Uber back to my hotel, but she actually drove me herself. She even helped me double-check my packing for my early morning flight, and we ended the night with a kiss. Later, we were texting, and we realized that she hadn't taken a photo of us for a frame she had bought. I was honestly a bit sad that we hadn't, and the few pictures we had taken over the weekend didn't really fit the style she was going for. I jokingly suggested I should just Uber back. About 10 minutes later, after waiting for a response, she told me to come down. Anxiety be damned, she had driven back just so we could take a picture together and share another goodbye kiss. So, overall, while it wasn't the perfect weekend I had hoped for, I'm choosing to remain cautiously optimistic. I do think not making the trip longer was a mistake, and having more time might have made a significant difference. Now, we'll have to see how things go when she decides whether she wants to make the solo trip down to see me for an event closer to this summer. Just to clarify a couple of things from the previous thread, she is on medication and sees a therapist, though her current therapist is new to her. I wouldn't normally pursue a long-distance relationship, but our shared interests are so strong, and it's something I've struggled to find in my local area. My last decently long relationship taught me how much I value that connection. Thanks again for all the comments on my previous post. I imagine interest in another update might wane until the next trip happens in about 2 months, but that's when things will really be make or break for us. Comment 1. Oh wow, this went better than I expected. An update to your first post to go, but still, how exhausting. Comment 2. It feels like she was afraid of intimacy in any situation that could lead to it. Comment 3. I think the issue is that she had you on a tour to meet everyone in her life instead of just hanging out with you to make sure the chemistry was there in person. I understand meeting you the first time with her brother, but taking you to a party to meet all of her friends and then taking you to meet her mom were mistakes. You two should have just casually hung out without others competing for attention. Story 3. My freshly ex-BF, 27M, keeps blowing up my 24F phone after his hurtful April Fool's prank and our breakup. How can I cut him off without cutting off my entire friend group? I'm still reeling from a truly awful situation that unfolded around what my now ex-boyfriend thought was an April Fool's prank. For some context, we were together for just over a year, and he knew how much I dislike pranks and surprises. Yesterday, he told me he had something serious to discuss and proceeded to tell me, with what looked like genuine tears in his eyes, that he had cheated on me with his best friend's girlfriend, and she was pregnant. My world completely stopped. I honestly think I had a panic attack. He just sat there, looking emotional and apologizing. He knew I had been cheated on in the past and that it was a major trigger for me. Once I could speak, I told him to leave, which he did. After calming down a little, I called his best friend, the supposed other man in this scenario, to see if he knew. He was completely shocked and told me my boyfriend had told him about the prank beforehand and he had advised him against it. That's when I learned the whole thing was a lie. No affair, no baby. I felt completely numb, trying to process how someone I loved could intentionally inflict that kind of pain on me as a joke. Later that evening, after a day of no contact, he called and told me to check my backyard. He had set up a romantic scene with takeout and a sign that said, April Fools. For a fleeting moment, I felt a flicker of relief, but the hurt was still overwhelming. He came up grinning, saying he couldn't believe I fell for it and thought I'd realize it was a prank. I didn't hesitate. I broke up with him right there. The emotional roller coaster of the day had left me feeling completely manipulated. I told him I couldn't be with someone who could lie to my face like that and think it was funny. He actually said it was funny and that he was sorry I didn't get the joke. I've been an emotional wreck ever since, questioning if I overreacted. He's never done anything like this before, but I don't know if I can ever trust him again. Now, the problem is he won't stop contacting me. Since the breakup, he has left a staggering 37 voicemails and countless messages, and the number keeps growing. I've told him I need space, but he's completely ignoring me. I really don't want to block him or make things even messier because we share a close friend group, and I don't want to cause a rift. Does anyone have any advice on how to get him to respect my need for space and stop this constant barrage of messages? Comment 1. He's the idiot for even thinking this was funny. The friend you called is probably on your side, given his reaction. I'd block this jerk and move on. Sorry this happened to you. I hope your real friends stick by you. Comment 2. He said it was funny and that he was sorry if I didn't get it. Pretty much immediately it was clear this was not forgivable, but this is just unbelievably insulting. Comment 3. Mute him so you have his messages as evidence in case he turns stalker from harassing you. Explain to your friend group why. Anyone who takes his side can be blocked. Comment 4. This was so not funny. It was cruel, bordering on sadistic, knowing your history of being cheated on in a previous relationship. Even his best friend tried to talk him out of it. If this was your BF's idea of a fun, harmless April Fool's Day prank, I think you did the right thing to break up with him. You dodged a bullet. Don't take him back, no matter how hard he pleads. And yes, block him if he won't leave you alone. Your friend group will understand when you tell them why. Let him learn a hard lesson, so his next GF won't have to go through the emotional hell he chose to put you through yesterday. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and we will see you in the next video.